Okay, let's get going. So I'd like to call this to order. First thing on the agenda is Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next is approval of the minutes.
Make a motion to approve.
Got a motion? A
Second.
Got a second? All in favor? Aye. Passed. Any conflicts of interest? No? All right. So next on the agenda is public comment. If anyone has any, if you can come forward, state your name, and you have 3 minutes.
Tonight, but I'll
Yes.
squeak this one in. My name is Margaret Rhodes, and we live in Port Salerno, have since 2000, permanently 2015. But I'm confused as to what I'm reading online about CRA TIF money funding Brightline. Well, that's what they're saying. Don't worry, it's not.
City
gonna
of
be-
Stewart.
What's that?
That's the city of Stewart, not the county.
Well, CRA, I don't know, does,
So each municipality can have its own CRA, and the city of Stewart is a separate municipality
so
from
it
the
doesn't,
county.
it doesn't concern.
Correct.
So all the money that goes to your, so that is, okay, so that meeting is at 4 o'clock, I think. Well, there's one at 6.
Today,
So it-
they usually have their meetings on Monday, so I don't know what
Well,
their,
there's-
today is Monday.
Today's Monday. Well, they were going to have something at Riverwalk at 4 o'clock.
That's a rally.
Oh, that's a
Yes, I
rally.
know. And I was going to ask it there, but you're saying it's a different CRA.
It's a different CRA.
So that money, because I'm thinking, well, if you use TIF money, so no other projects for downtown are going to get built.
That depends on what their budget is, which I don't know. And I
It's
don't know what,
taxpayer money.
and I don't know what projects
But
they
it's
have.
taxpayer money.
It's all taxpayer
Yes.
money.
Okay, well, you answer that, so I can go. Thank you. Have a good,
Welcome.
have a good day.
Thank you. Got that cleared up? Okay.
It was easy.
Anyone else from the public? Okay. Moving right along, presentations, capital project review.
Good afternoon, all. Susan Corres, Office of Community Development. We're going to go through our projects, and I'm going to talk about things that may have changed since our last meeting. And you can ask any questions that you would like to ask. So we're going to move on down to some new Palm City projects that are on our list. Old Palm City Southwest Cornell Ave improvements. And this is the second of 8 components that make up the vision of Old Palm City CRA, which is enhanced neighborhood streets, sidewalks, and bikeways. So Cornell Avenue is identified as a secondary street in the Palm City CRA, and it runs parallel to MAP. It connects the bridge, well, almost the bridge, to Martin Downs. It's a residential street. And this project, we're looking to widen the sidewalks, increase pedestrian safety, biking, adding some street trees if possible, traffic calming and beautification. So right now, we're working with CapTech Engineering to define a scope, and the scope would be for design and engineering. So both of those things. So you'll see them start coming out to NAC meetings to do their community engagement piece for that, so that the community will have their input as well. It was recommended by the Old Palm City Neighborhood Advisory Committee. We brought several projects to them to look at, to decide which way to move forward. What would they prefer to do moving forward? Now, the second one, Old Palm City Waterfront Passive Parks, we're looking at that as an alternate. So that is part of the Cornell Ave improvements, however, again, an alternate. So we're going to do some community engagement with that as well, and some design, and see what the neighborhood thinks. So Southwest Cornell Ave improvements can go forward with or without the passive park piece, depending on what kind of input we get from the community, from the NAC, from the engineers, et cetera. So that's kind of exciting. Palm City is moving along in its community redevelopment plan. Infrastructure partnerships for Port Salerno is also moving along. Park Drive improvements, we have 100% design. It's going to go out to bid. And we got an estimate for our portion. And remember, our portion is sewer, roadway, cement for the fishing dock, additional cement, some signage, cleaning up the parking. And I think that's it, taking out some of the signage that's there in the trees and fixing the electric lines. So our piece of that right now estimate is $484,000 and some change. And the nice part about that is it includes a repave of George's Way, and I'm going to talk about that in our next item. Sidewalk connections in Port Salerno is substantially complete. They still need to do a little bit of sodding, and we're going to have some beautiful pictures next month, or so Joy told me. So hold Joy 100% responsible if we don't have good pictures. Joy, are you in the audience? Okay, excellent.
And let me tell you, the tree.
Do they?
Oh, I love the
good.
tree-lined sidewalks, yes.
Excellent. New Monrovia Park improvements. So we did receive approval from the school board. You knew all of this. CapTech is doing some engineering on that. Design is underway. We just got 60% design back. Joy just told me that today. So we're looking at that and working with the consultant to get that going. Neighborhood improvements is the same. So we're going to move all the way down to neighborhood enhancements. The new Monrovia signs, I just wanted to bring up that they have been repaired. So they're all cleaned up and looking as pretty as they were when they first went up. And Port Salerno banners as well, they have, we are going out for the 3 quotes now. So we're looking at that, and we should have some movement on that again. We're a little bit in a holding pattern like the rest of the county because we can't really do much until October 1st. So that's kind of what happens mid to late September is no POs, no P card, can't do anything. So we're doing what we can. And then just to give you a little update on the investment program, the mailing is set to go out October 1st or right after. And we're starting out with Hobe Sound. So everything will go out to Hobe Sound, and then we'll look at what our response is in terms of when the next mailing will go out and to which CRA, probably more than likely Rio, I think. Port Salerno would be right after that. So that's all I have for you for capital projects updates, unless anybody has a question. Nothing yet. Okay.
Okay.
We probably will be having a groundbreaking for El Camino, and I'll let you know when that is. If for some reason we get that date sooner than the next meeting, I'll certainly send it out to you so you can put it on your calendars. Shall I just continue, Rex?
Go ahead, old business.
Okay, old business. So we're going to talk a little bit about unpaved roads today. That's something that we put in some of the CIPs in, I guess it was 2022. And I'm sure that you all looked at the information that was sent and saw we had different, and I can show the audience what that looks like. Where's my, here we go. So we looked at unpaved roads in the CRAs, and you may recall Jensen is not included in this because it doesn't have any unpaved roads in the CRA. Lucky Jensen. So we just looked at what's there because communities are very interested in fixing these for safety, for drainage, for not having big, huge puddles. and also for good connection in their neighborhoods. So Josh Mills, a long time ago, did these nice sort of pictures for us to show where they all exist. And if you don't remember, in Martin County, there are things called private roads, privately maintained roads. So unpaved roads can become a little bit of a quagmire, if you will. So we're trying to pick off the low-hanging fruit as much as we can as we move along. And we're also trying to do this in conjunction with other departments because paving roads, repairing roads, fixing roads, it's extremely expensive. Building new roads is extremely expensive, and we really don't have the funds to do that without it being part of a major capital project. So we're always looking for ways to tie in with utilities or public works or whoever's doing things already in the neighborhood, and we can add the funds that we have in order to get those things done along with their project. So I'm just going to update you a little bit really on what we've been doing in this regard. We'll start with Port Salerno. So this is part of the neighborhood improvement in New Monrovia. That is a capital project. So this is a street that the community was very interested in. It's this one, 43rd Avenue. And you can see it in a bigger, like where exactly it exists. This is just a little quick rendering, if you will, that Joy put together. So here's 43rd Avenue. And this is a county road. And what she looked at was, yes, this is a road that we would love to repair and repave. And it made sense to look at the connection between 43rd and 44th and open up Field Street to connect so all of these properties now would have a road. And it made sense to do it while we're doing this project because economy of scale kicks in. If you've already got this activity happening, it's less expensive to do more of it. So we brought that to the community and they agreed. Commissioner Hurd as well agrees that that is a good time and an appropriate time to do it. So that's one that we are looking at getting completed. Also in Port Salerno, as I mentioned, here's George's Way. You can see it's right kind of in the pocket. And this particular roadway goes all the way from Dixie down to DeSoto. And then right here you have the businesses that are on the water. This road has constantly flooded down this way, flooding these businesses. And we've had this problem for quite a while. So this particular project that is going to be included with our Park Drive improvements, which is with Public Works. They're calling it the Peninsula Restoration, I think, Peninsula Restoration Project. That's going to go out to bid shortly, and we're going to include George's Way in that, and not only will we be repaving, they're kind of picking up what's there, which is a cement base, and putting down asphalt and adding some drainage to it as well. So that should be a nice piece of that project, and for us, it doesn't cost us really much more money to do that. So that was a nice assist. So in Golden Gate, as you know, they just did their sewer. Yes,
Do you want me to wait?
you can ask me now.
Tomorrow? Okay.
Sure.
I know that they brought up 48th Avenue at the last NAC meeting. That was also the area that they had a lot of concerns about flooding.
Yes.
And I know that we had had a couple meetings with Public Works, I believe it was, when they came out and did a presentation at one point, and they had brought up that concern about how flooded it gets there. So,
Very low, very
yeah.
low.
So I don't know if that would be something we could also,
Yeah, so that
Work
was
together
brought up,
on.
that was brought up in the meeting. Joy is looking at that just to see what makes sense, the same way that she did with these, talking with Public Works, talking with utilities, to see if that's even something that we could do.
okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah, sure. In Golden Gate, along with the, again, Public Works doing their neighborhood restoration, so that happens after Utilities does the sewer conversion. Then Public Works comes in, does neighborhood restoration, so they're repaving. And they had to rebuild several roads in Golden Gate. And they're working on that. In with that project, we gave them the funds that we had for this particular activity, and we did get completed Birch Avenue between Delmar and Ellendale, and Durant Avenue between Fairmont and Garden. So those two got done. We got some nice pictures. You can see how nice that looks. And there's Durant. And then in Rio, you might have noticed if you looked at the initial pictures of where the unpaved roads are, you would have seen that the banyan tree is one of those. So banyan tree and actually its neighbor, Ixora, are two streets that Ixora is not on our unpaved roads picture. It's actually Banyan Tree and Pine Tree Lane, which I think is this one in the middle. But anyway, just to bring you up to date with what's going on there, the community was very interested in having sewer and water down those roads. We've been working for a long time with Utilities and the residents and Public Works on that. So good news is tomorrow at the Board of County Commissioners meeting, all of the easements that those folks have signed go to the board tomorrow for approval, and that's for both streets, Ixora and Banyan. However, they're not, so they will get their sewer, which is fantastic. It is not, they are not going to be repaved at this time, and I don't know when that might happen because they are privately owned and privately maintained. Banyan Street is especially interesting because Banyan Tree, I think it's called, because the lot lines come right to the middle of the street. So each property owner owns from the back of their property to the middle of the street. So it's a little bit tough to get things done when other people own the property. So that's kind of interesting. But I bring this up just to let you know what's going on in that area, but also to tell you that there's a couple of opportunities that are not on the unpaved roads pictures, but that we've identified as opportunities. One is an alleyway, you can see right here, and that's between Northeast Rio and, I cannot read that, Sumner, thank you. There's an alleyway behind there that looks kind of ripe for paving that would help the businesses and residents here. So we're going to take a look at it. And then there's the connection of Stewart. So to connect Stewart through to Sumner and increase connection for that neighborhood. Those are two that we're going to take a look at. Last but not least, we have two in Hobe Sound. So one is Page Street right here. Don't forget that Hobe Sound is serviced by SMRU in terms of their water and sewer, their utilities. So a little bit more difficult for us to do things with Public Works there or with Utilities, obviously, there. So Page Street is one that's being looked at because there is some water and sewer stuff being done in that area. And it's just in the planning stages right now. We don't know what will come of that. And then there's Rich Way, which is a small road right here next to Petway Village. Mike, did you have anything to say about Petway Village?
Petway Village is a wonderful community. No, we actually have two dedications coming up on Saturday at 9 a.m.
Yay!
I would like to say weather permitting, but we're going to have them no matter what. So, yeah, that'll be houses number 7 and 8 out of the 18 total. And then 9 and 10, we hope to dedicate by the end of this year.
Wow. 10 done by the end of the year. That's amazing. Congratulations. I didn't want to steal your thunder. That's why.
I'll shoehorn in wherever you want.
And we didn't plan that. That wasn't,
No, that was very.
yeah, we didn't do that. So that's it for unpaved roads. I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any. I know that's a really exciting topic, but come on, must have a question.
Okay. No questions. Moving right along. You have design standards update?
I have all kinds of updates. I don't know where that went. I missed it. Sorry. Okay. So, yeah, we have a bunch of updates. So first off is Board of County Commissioners fiscal year 2025 budget. The adoption hearing is tomorrow. So last week, 2 weeks ago, was the first public hearing, and everything was tentatively approved, and then tomorrow will be the adoption, just so that you know what's happening. Architectural standards, I'm just going to update you on where we are and the calendar. So as you can see, everything in green is what we've already accomplished. We've gone to 3 CRAs so far. It's been very interesting. The discussion has been really interesting. There's a lot of trading going on, a lot of horse trading going on. I'll give you one mission style for a couple of, Florida vernaculars. I mean, it's really been kind of fun. But Dana does a nice presentation, and we're really, I think, making a lot of headway. We've got 3 to go. Rio is this week. And then it will come back to us as the design team, which is Treasure Coast, Growth Management, Legal, and the CRA, along with REG Architects out of West Palm Beach. We're going to get together after we have visited with all of the NACs and complete our final draft, which we will bring to you next month. So October 28th next month, we're going to bring that to you for your approval, and then we'll bring it to the LPA and to the Board of County Commissioners, and you can see those dates there as well. So that was my update. I don't know if anyone has any questions on the schedule. We're putting it out on social media and on our website so that anybody that's interested can come. As you know, we've already talked to the architects several times. Builders have been getting all of the updates as well. And hopefully the community has really had an opportunity to look at it, to question, to call us, to talk to us. So we'll continue that through till November 12th.
So of the 3 you've been to, what's the public reaction been so far?
It's been actually really positive. The committee members themselves do have a lot of conversation about what do we see in the neighborhood now, what do we want to see in the neighborhood, and what are all of these other choices. So the architects were interested in us presenting to everybody all of the choices that you would have. So it doesn't mean particularly that you have mission-style architecture in your community, but it's an option that you can have. So we did that, and we presented everything, and it's interesting, Hobe Sound went for everything but one, ranch. So you've got everything else, I think. Jensen went, did the old, well, we'll take these 2, and we're not going to take those 2, and maybe so it was interesting. But Old Palm City did the same thing, really talked about what's there and how do we want things to look in the future. So the conversation's been interesting. Yeah. We haven't had a ton of public. We did have very positive public in Jensen, folks from different places saying this is a great idea because you really get a better looking community, or the community that the way you want it to look, I guess would be a better way to describe it.
Okay.
So you'll find out Thursday, Mike.
I know, I'm trying to get a hint, though, you know. I want to be,
Well, Rio is a very engaged community, so I expect there will be conversation.
we are. We're not quite Port Salerno, but we're engaged for,
We'll always give you a run for your money.
Okay, let's go back. Okay, so just a couple of other updates for you. Ripple Stormwater Eco Art Project is just reeling in the awards. We won the 2024 Florida Native Plant Society Garden of Excellence in Commercial and Institutional Landscaping, which is very cool. And Palm City Place and Patio won its first, which is the 2024 Facility Showcase by the Florida Recreation and Park Association. It's going to be showcased in the 2024 winter edition of their journal and will be featured on their Public Spaces and Facilities Showcase website. So that's kind of exciting.
Right.
I say just the first for that one. We're going to get more. And I did have, I think, a couple of others that came in that were not included. Mooring fields, just so that you know, the facility bids came in. We had 5 bidders, which was kind of exciting. Lowest bid was $529,700. I have not heard about when that will go to the board yet, but I'm sure it'll be fairly soon. And last but not least, we do have some vacancies coming up in our NAC. So I just wanted you guys to know that in case you know somebody that you think might be a really good candidate, let us know and we can reach out to them. Golden Gate needs 2, Hope Sound needs 2, and Port Salerno needs 1, or those are the vacancies as of today. So if you guys know anyone, again, that you think is a good candidate, we'd love to know. And other than that, I am done.
Any comments, questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Going back to the fiscal year budget, is that also where they identify what percentage of TIF funds come back to the CRA?
It hasn't changed. It would have been put forward, but it was not, so it's still 65%.
Okay,
Yeah, that's where they would probably vote on it, though, yes, if they were to.
okay. I'm just wondering, always got to push the envelope. I think we should have gone for 75.
Yeah, well, it's not like I didn't ask. It was not, we were pretty much instructed this year to keep it flat. That we did not want to have any raise, because property taxes have increased so much, we didn't want to raise the millage as well,
Okay.
so.
Do you have something, Michael?
I have nothing, no. Trying to get me in trouble.
Come on, Mike.
It would be nice if we have any of these awards in magazines that we could see those.
Yeah, I agree with that. So as soon as we see something, because they'll send those to us. Lucy just did an article for this Florida Native Plant Society, so we'll get to see that as well. Yeah,
great.
yeah, I'll keep an eye on that for you.
Great. So, nothing else?
Nothing else for me.
Okay. So moving right along, we get to comments. First, the public. Anyone from the public have a comment? No? Members? Any other comments, questions? And staff?
Nothing for me.
Okay. If that's the case, I'd like to adjourn this meeting.